Hi, this is Shari Miller, and I'm here today with Susanne Stelle from Germany, and she is here for her Challenge 10 critique. So how do you feel going into this, Susanne?
A little bit nervous. Just put. I wrote down some words, not to forget them.
What kind of words did you write down?
Fear, needle, doorknob, and all those funny stuff.
Oh, gotcha. Words that you wanted to make sure you had in English, is that what?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and get started. I really loved looking at the images that you selected this time, and can't wait to have to say. So I'm going to share the screen, and then I will bring up your first one here. And why don't you just tell us a little bit about this image? What is it that drew this subject to you, and what do you think went well, and were there any challenges or things that you did after hearing feedback?
Yeah, I mean, that was a funny thing with that picture. It was taken on a photo walk in a small city near us, and it was just lying on my hard drive, and a friend of mine who lives in Chicago and is a photographer visited his family here and posted exactly the same door on Facebook. So I came back to that picture, and yeah, I mean, you have seen the original one. Did you get that?
I did, yes.
So I started looking at that picture, and I thought, okay, with another crop, it could be a really nice picture. Then Susan commented that she wanted to see more of the doorknob. So I started to retouch a few of the leaves on that doorknob. Because for me, it's like telling a story. Just that little crop is telling a story. So maybe there is a secret garden behind it. And yeah, so come in and see. I had an issue with these little green leaves on the left side, or flowers, or whatever it is. And I tried to do some dodge and burn in Photoshop, which didn't work out very well. So
which leaves are you talking about there?
These lighter ones. It's about in the edge of the left third of the picture.
Okay,
it's
so
like
right over in this area.
A little bit more right. Right. Down.
Down here.
These more down. The one at the bottom is that lighter green.
Okay.
And so I tried to do a little bit dodge and burning in Photoshop, which didn't work well for me. Then I went back to Lightroom and just reduced the luminescence of that green-yellow color so that it might be a little bit not that bright, like in the original picture.
Gotcha. No, it was. I saw this, and some of the strengths I definitely see in this is the subject matter. I love how you talk about it's, an entrance into the secret garden. That was one of my favorite books when I was a child, and I think doors always evoke that idea of what's on the other side there, and the colors and the vibrancy. I love the rust.
Yeah.
Of that, and the doorknob, and then some of the little light areas in that. So great subject choice. Good C on that.
Okay.
Some things that it would be interesting to try on this is that I did see your initial image, which was lengthwise, going with the lines of that.
Yeah.
You did a great job of doing the thirds with this one right here. I wonder about how our eyes follow lines in images, and this is the main area. That doorknob is your main subject there, and the doorknob seems to or the handle.
Yeah.
Where do your eyes go when you look at the handle? I mean, does it go right or left or down or up?
The one thing which is disturbing is the thing below the knob. What is it called? The where you
open
it. Yes, the keyhole.
And the keyhole, I think, is part of the charm. That doesn't seem to affect me too much. And what I think about is the way that the handle curves somewhat upward and then comes down to the right. Yeah. And so my eyes are following that main line of the pole. Yeah. And then it comes down into the subject area there, and it comes here and it starts moving out this way, but there's not very much place for me to go to the right. Mm-hmm. And so I wonder if when you were in the field area, or maybe going back in the original image, cropping it a little bit differently so that whole door handle is maybe up in the thirds location in the left-hand side. So like up in this area, so that we've got that strong line coming down, but then our eyes would come to the handle and then move over this way, and we can move into all of the greenness of the leaves that would be on the right-hand side. Okay, got that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it's showing to the right side, and you're wondering, is there something else?
Right. Yeah. And there's, at times there are things, that you want to just kind of offer that mystery to the viewer's eyes. This one, I think it would be interesting to go into that greenery a little bit and give me some space over there.
Okay.
Along with that.
Got it.
This is one of those places too that I may have used my own permission that I give myself to move some of these branches that kind of stretch out across here.
Yeah.
I'm very well known for, or when I'm out and about shooting, for moving any distractions that are that will kind of affect it. And I feel like because this one branch up in the upper left is a little bit unfocused, and then there's one that's really, really focused. There's 3 of them coming down.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a conflict with my eyes, and I really want to just come right down to that knob.
Okay.
So maybe just moving those excess branches that are in focus and tucking them back behind the leaves. That might have given a little bit more space to our eyes to rest on the doorknob.
Okay, got you.
Okay?
Yep.
Any other questions?
No, not yet.
All right, then let's go on to the next one. All right, tell me about this.
My husband bought these amaryllis, is it called? Amaryllis?
Uh-huh.
And here I really love the light green. It's like the green in spring has a different green like the green in summer. And that reminds me of the spring green. And it looks like that green thing is giving birth to the bud just coming out there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then what I did after Susan also mentioned that she wasn't happy with the background, I used your proposal with the blur filter to get the focus more on the bud than on the background.
Gotcha. Yeah, because it is the from the original image, this one has the softer background, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, great subject. When I opened up the original one of this too, I could see why you were drawn to it. The shadows and the light that are there with the different shades of green are phenomenal, and the colors as well. The lines and the curves just are yummy. I might say it draws you in there. So yeah, the subject is great. The lighting and the shadow, nice, and the curves and the colors and the placement. I like the composition here. It's kind of leading up into that thirds.
Yeah.
Up in the right hand side, and I do think that the softer background works a little better. I see, and I can't remember if I mentioned this or not, but on the vignette with the white, it seems a little bit like it's a little too distracting compared to the color of the background. And so I'm going to take this into Photoshop and show you something that you might want to play with. It's another way to work with vignettes.
Yeah.
when you don't just want the black or the white color. Okay.
Okay.
So we've got it here. And if you go up to, where's my little thing? Up to layer, get a new layer. However you do that, there's so many different ways you can do that.
Yeah.
Okay. And then click back on the background using your eyedropper, which is right there. Okay. Go in and I'm going to take some of the color from the midpoint here, or, from the background, so I can get that same color that I have. So now that is down here in the two colors between the foreground and the background on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
Okay. Switch that around so it'll be the background. Go back to your layer. And then if you hit Control Backspace, got the whole image now is that color.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, we don't want to leave that there, of course. And so going back up to this tool, the rectangular marquee tool there. You can do rectangle or elliptical, whichever one you want. I'll do the rectangular one. And I usually go to the feather up here. About 120 seems to work fairly well. So then I come back in and I'm going to draw my frame. And let's try it out right here. I'll bring that down.
Okay.
All right, it's going to pop up and it's going to be a little bit curved because of the feathering that I had up there.
Okay.
All right, I've got that there. And then I can just hit Backspace again.
Okay, yeah.
And so you've got it, it's less of that white. So your eyes aren't drawn to the corners going, oh yeah, it's got a vignette on it.
Yeah.
And then what you can, I'm going to do the deselect, Control D to deselect that inner part. On the right-hand side, when you go to opacity, I don't want it quite as harsh. I want some of that to come through. So you can move it around, you could go all the way. So it's just on the edges, but that gets back to kind of that wider edge. Let's just play with it around, 71. And you can play with whichever image that wherever you want that. But that way
that doesn't look that sharp. Yeah, it's smoother. It's a smoother way than just a vignette in white.
Right. And so your eyes, and you can play around with the opacity. I think some of the white corners of your vignette are coming through still on the corners there. But you can play with the different sizes. You can go back through and do it in the different process. And, you can go back in and try different colors too.
Okay.
But what I can do is I will put together, if it would be helpful for you, or maybe I can make a tutorial on that again so that you can see it step by step.
Yeah, that would be great.
And I might put a written one with it too. I like to see the written version. Thanks to. So. Okay. So yeah, that is something I think that you'll have fun playing with since I feel like you're embracing the vignettes, and then this is just one step up, another way to use it using the colors in the image.
Yeah, good. Very good. Fine. Yes.
All right, let's go back to this. And let's go to the next one. Tell me about that.
That's the when we took these pictures just 3 feet around. It's at my favorite place where I took so many pictures, and they have these little garden where they're planting just herbs. And here I like the way going through that garden. I was on my knees when I took that picture.
Nice.
I like that combination of the leaves and the rest of the green of the rosemary on the right side and on the left side. I like the combination of these small stones and the wet leaves on that small way. Wondering where is that way going, and it looks much bigger in that point of view than it really is.
Really?
It's just a small. It's just 2 feet wide. It just goes through the areas where they're planting their different herbs like rosemary or thyme or whatever.
And how long is the path then? About how long is it?
Let's say it's about 5 meters. It goes
Okay.
through a relatively great area. It's like an old. Have you seen pictures of old monks' herbs garden?
Yes.
Where they have the areas with thyme and the area with whatever. That's the idea behind that small garden.
It's lovely. It looks like it would be a great place to explore.
Yeah, they have so many things to see over there. And
I'm sorry, could you say that again? That cut out a little bit.
Yeah, it's just a small shop where I get my milk and my bread. It's a organic shop. They're living there. They have their own cows, own pigs, own chickens, and everything. It's a lovely place.
Oh, it sounds like it. Sounds like it. Again, Susan, nice choice on the subject. It's interesting to see that some of these images, I often see metaphors, in our pictures for what we are experiencing in life. And you've got a path here, you've got the bud ready to open, ready to be birthed. You've got the door ready to be opened, and I feel like it's you on this journey entering into this realm. And great line through it. The way that the path leads back, there's great perspective going from the wider angle at the bottom up to the top, and knowing that you got down on your knees to get a different view, try a different perspective of it with it. And the contrast of the greens and the oranges work really well. They help one another there. Particularly, I like the little additions of the orange leaves that are stuck in the rosemary up on the left-hand side. Yeah, that's really nice. Just a few things I would wonder about this is sometimes when I see lines, I often think that a line can offer you, give you the direction of which way you could compose the image. And what I mean by that is that for this one, the line is a vertical line going up and down. And a lot of times I will purposely choose to do a composition that is vertical to get my eyes going further into the image, so it can really get that feeling of the long path and the long lines going vertically. Yeah. Whereas sometimes if you use the horizontal crop, like on this one, my eyes are going and then it kind of stops. But it's like, oh, I want to keep going. How much smaller can that end get at the end? So it's this mystery at the end of what's going to come next. So just a thought there to think, okay, maybe I need to turn my camera a little bit and try it vertically to go with the lines there. I noticed it on your original image of the gate that you did have a vertical composition of those great lines of the bars there. And although that wasn't your final choice of the subject matter and composition for the image you brought, you can see where those lines really go up and down there. So just something to think about is playing with that composition. Same thing, if bars or lines are going horizontal, then keep the composition horizontal so that your eyes are traveling through the whole way in the image. It just gives a longer time for our eyes to move through and see everything that's there.
Okay.
And then I would say too, on this one, you've got those great greens and oranges. Go in and maybe play a little bit more with the sliders in Lightroom. Let's see if I can get it to develop up there. In those warm, it should pop up. There it is. Okay.
Loading.
Yeah. And to get various colors of it, down in that, it sounds like you're familiar with using like the luminance and the saturation, and push those a little. Experiment with those colors a little bit and see if you can get them to pop a little bit, because I think this is a gorgeous image, and I think it has great potential to get even more gorgeous, because some of the leaves look a little bit, especially up in the top, get a little bit bright, and so they're almost white, and I want to see that color. You talk about how they were wet leaves, and wet leaves, I think, are one of the most gorgeous things ever. Go for it. Claim that. Not like oversaturated, but just giving them that deeper color that they had.
Yeah. Okay. Got you.
All right.
Yeah. Okay.
Next one.
Yeah.
This.
This is my favorite one.
Mine too.
Yeah, this is my absolutely favorite one. I ran out of ideas for these pictures, and then my husband, we bought our Christmas tree, and so it was just a tree, and I saw these little, whatever these brown things are. So he's telling me these needles are coming out of that brown stuff. I don't know. But I really like that. And it's a I'm not sure, did I use a tripod? I'm not sure. But I really liked it. And for me, that picture makes me really, I can smell these pines.
Oh, yeah.
I can smell it. When I look at that picture, I can smell it.
What a great thing to evoke. I would agree with it. When I saw this image, I thought, this is beautiful.
Yeah, thank
stunning.
you.
I would say this is definitely one of those images to put in your portfolio.
Okay.
Beautiful, stunning. There is, the composition. I'll tell you about the strengths of it. Why I think it's such a strong image. The composition works really well with the browns and the greens and the way that those needles are wrapping around there, and it's sharp in that area, and nearly in that third spot, but it works because all of these lines from the needles around it, are bringing our eyes right into that area. Not to mention that the depth of focus worked tremendously well as well, because you've got all this blurred, unfocused area around, in contrast with some that are in focus, but it absolutely frames that inner part of it.
Yes.
And the contrasts of the darks, up here and the darks down here, but with some of the lighter areas on the needles, there's just so much for my eyes to see and land in and just feel like this is beauty, absolute beauty.
Thank you very much. I was really astonished how good it came out. I just ran through through our living room wondering what can I take a picture of.
Well, you found it. You definitely found it. Stunning.
And I really like that one.
Yeah. Wonderful image, Susan.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful. And let's go to the last one here.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me a bit about this one.
Yes. That was also on a photo walk where I had a person with me from Fuji. So he was walking with me all the time because I was the only one who owned that camera at that moment. And he gave me everything to try, every objective, every lens. So every lens I could try with him. Wow. And that was already taken in a black and white mode with a red filter. He explained to me because the XT1 has a few presets, like black and white with yellow filter or green filter or red filter.
Okay.
And here he had explained to me the different effects from the filters on the pictures. And I really like these root because for little details. The only thing I did at that picture is because Susan mentioned in the original picture there were some very, very light spots on the left side. So I reduced them with a little dodge and burn. Here it worked better than on the other one.
Well, good.
So I really like that picture because it's the roof is not in the middle. On the right side you see the unsharp grass behind. I like the hard contrast from that red filter.
Definitely. Yeah, I see that you're returning to that bark again, and I imagine I'll see more of that as well, the black and white with the trees and the bark.
I took more, I said, let's say about 20, 25 pictures of that Madonna root. I think I leave her alone for a month or two. They didn't come out very well.
Yeah, sometimes they cooperate and they play well, and sometimes it's time to give a break for a while.
Yeah.
So.
And the tree is also standing near to that small herb garden, so I'm be there tomorrow morning, but I think I leave her alone for a while.
Let her have some space, and you have some space too.
Yeah.
Nice. It's interesting to hear you tell about that it was a black and white with in camera with the red filter, because I was going to say that the tonal range here is lovely. You've got, you still have a few areas there that are nearly that inky black, but you're not losing the details in it, which sometimes happens with black and white. If you go too dark in some areas, it just turns to that, full on black. But there's so many details of shadow and texture and clarity, I would say, too, between the midtones there. There's such a wide range, and I think that's so important in black and white photography, unless you have a huge, just absolutely contrast type image. But otherwise, with trees and shadows and bark, you want that mid-tone range. So the choice of the black and white and the red, very nice on that.
Thank you.
And the depth of focus is good here too, because as you mentioned, you caught it yourself, that the grasses, the blurred grasses in the background, add a wonderful contrast to the sharp, jagged edges of the tree there. And so, interesting image, and just a few things I would suggest. I don't know when you were in that spot, how far up did the branches up at the top go? Did they go up pretty high?
No, it was just a rest. Only a few centimeters, maybe.
Okay. What I might be tempted to do is maybe step back a bit if you had the room and compose the image, including the tips of those branches there. You've heard it before from me about, when I see things on the edges that are just abruptly cut off, our eyes are like, oh, I'm there, and then I'm off the edge.
So you're curious to see what's on the end of these things.
Yeah, I think my eyes, again, our eyes want to have some kind of space around the edges to wander around the edges and know that is holding the subject in the middle. Same thing with the one on the left-hand side, this little stick that's out. I would probably get rid of that. Just calling that out. That's on the left edge there, just because it's like, oh, there's a stick right there. Take that out. But you give me more space at the top so that I can see the whole entirety of that piece of wood, and then I think it just will hold and frame that beauty even better there.
Fine, thanks. Yeah, it's just the composition.
Right.
Yeah.
It's that, and I think that you have mentioned it before too, about that slowing down and noticing what you're filling your frame with.
Yeah.
And as they talk about photography as being, instead of adding to an image, we are looking to see what we are subtracting from the image. What are the things that we want to keep in the frame, and what needs to be there in the frame, but then also what needs to be left out. But here I would say, definitely leave part of these branches in. They need to be there with the whole of that trunk.
Okay.
But then you can also, does that need to be there? No, it's not any part of the subject of that image. So you can get rid of that part there.
Yeah.
So.
I understand.
All right.
Slowing down. I try to.
Well, it sounds like your life is one in which the slowing down doesn't happen all that frequently. So
no.
Let's get back to the main screen here, and I'll stop screen sharing. And get back to you there. So any final questions or comments before I stop the broadcast, and then we can chat for just a little bit?
No, I mean, it's just so interesting, like that, what other people see in these pictures. And I think they are not that bad. I can only learn from that. So I'm very glad that I choose these pictures. I'm very glad that I choose this ones.
Yeah, me too. They were a good set of images and lots of good stuff there, and then just a few things to consider moving forward as well.
Yes. Yep.
Always moving forward.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to sign off right now, but we can still hang out just for a minute or two.
Yes, sure. Of course.
Thanks.